So back in 2020, when the world went into lockdown, you really need to think about the people that were in a bit of trouble at the time. Whilst we sat at home and we watched The Place in the Sun and we decided to make our move to Spain, there are people that were here in Spain, in the amazing Torrevieja, that became homeless. And one of them is a guy called Delta Mike on YouTube. I thought it'd be good to go and see Delta Mike and get his story.
Where shall we start?
So, you've been here for years.
I've been in Torrevieja for 8 years.
For 8 years.
In total. Homeless for 18 months last week.
Yeah.
In this particular spot, it must be 16 months now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First of all, we'll let everyone know you do have a YouTube channel, and there is a way that the people that can donate on your YouTube channel, and I will put the link to that down below underneath, so that people can donate.
Cheers.
So tell us your story.
So, my in-laws had a place out in Torrevieja 20, 30 years ago. Loved the place. Years and years later, I'm getting separate from my wife, and I've got a business, but I'm kind of bored. And I think I've got money in the bank. Let's take a break. Let's kind of, I guess the idea was take my retirement early.
Yeah.
Like I knew I didn't have enough to last forever. You know, it was use my retirement now while I'm young and healthy, and later work out what to do, whether to keep working or whatever in years to come. So I came out to Spain, money in the bank, rented apartments, shared an apartment with a bloke, and COVID happened.
Yeah.
And this is kind of where things start to go wrong. I had two banks, two British banks. Didn't have a bank account out here. Two British banks, and before I came out to Spain, I moved a chunk of money from my main bank to a secondary bank, just as a rainy day fund.
Yeah.
Put the money to one side. So if cards are lost with the main bank, I've got cards for the other bank. COVID happens, couldn't get you couldn't get hold of anybody. My cards had expired. It was hell just trying to get hold of them and sort anything out.
Yeah.
I move out from a friend's and get an apartment of my own with the cash that I could get from my main bank. But eventually the money's running down and I need access to my rainy day fund.
Yeah.
So I contact my rainy day fund bank, and they say no. I say, oh, come on, I can prove who I can go to a solicitor or a notary. So I say to the bank, yeah, I can go to notary. I can go to. I get a policeman. I can go to the police station. I can show my passport. Somebody will verify that I am me and that this is my passport. And they kick it up the stairs and they say no. The message comes back. The message comes back the day before I'm due to be evicted from my apartment, because I'm behind with my rent. The day before I'm due to be evicted, the bank say no. They say they've kicked it as high as they could and it's just too much of a risk. They offer me two ways forward, neither of which can work for me. I can walk into my branch back in the UK.
Yeah.
So there's that, and the other way forward was they would write to my UK address and I have to reply. I'm not there. How am I going to get the letter and reply?
Yeah.
So both ways were impossible for me. Day comes and I'm supposed to be evicted, and they come knocking on the door and I ignore them, and I stay another month before they do the illegal eviction thing. They turn up with a locksmith and start drilling at the door, or at least pretending to drill at the door.
Yeah.
I stop them and open the door before they do any actual damage, and they evict me. I leave my apartment carrying what I can carry and leaving other things behind. Have to arrange to go back and collect things at another date, but I've got nowhere to go. I'm kind of thinking of walking around a few friends and asking, and I stop at one friend and she says I can stay the night. Things happen. I move with another guy for a month, but then that ends and I move back. Stay there for 3 or 4 months. Outlive my welcome.
Yeah.
She's allergic to dogs, and I'm just under her feet. I stretched the limits of the friendship, and eventually, with nowhere else to go, she asks me to, if I can't sort my bank thing out, if I can't make progress, I'm going to have to go. And so, on the 14th of August, Sunday, 11 a.m, I walked down the steps from the friend's house into the streets of Torrevieja, and I'm carrying a heavy bag. I've got the dog, I've got a little bag of things for the dog and some dog food, but I can't go far. So I just turn the corner into the local park, which is made of 3 fields, and I spend the day in the middle field, and at night I carry on. I spend the night in that field. I find an area, I find a corner of the park where the boughs of the trees bend over and there's a hollow underneath. And in the day I start stacking my bags underneath there, heading off for the day, and like trusting that my things will still be there when I come back, hoping they're still there. And in fairness, Torrevieja has been great that way. I haven't had any problems with thievery or with individuals, no trouble. And so for a couple of months I live in the park. I had no money. I had nothing, literally no food, no money. And after 3 or 4 days I bump into a lady who asks how I'm doing, and I tell her, and she goes straight into her pocket and pulls out 15 euros. And a friend of hers that's with her hears the story, pulls out 20 euros. And yeah, the generosity of people.
Yeah. People will ask, if you put money in the bank, why don't you just jump on a plane?
I've got a shoe that doesn't let me do that.
Right.
I did at one point. The friend bought me a ticket and it looked like I was on the way. Pulled up at the airport though. There'd been a court date that I'd not been notified about, and I'd obviously missed it because I didn't know about it. Currently waiting on a new date, and I can't leave the country until it's all sorted. So I can't leave the country, can't go to my bank, and yeah.
There used to be a guy that slept there's a little cave bit on the waterfront.
I know Jambo.
Yeah, he used to sleep on the. It's right on the front. It's a cracking spot when you see it. It's ingenious where he's put it.
There's a couple of blokes there. There's another bloke in a different cave on a cove. So yeah, there are guys in caves. I thought about that. It just seemed too exposed to me. But when the wind's whipping in from the sea, you're going to be just very exposed, and water spraying and the noise of waves, and had nowhere else to go. This was literally the only place I could think of.
Yeah.
Came down here, and for 2 or 3 months I was on the floor here, just where the tent is now. I was just on the floor. No tarpaulin, no shelter, no tent. Just surviving. And for months a lot of people didn't even know I was here. People were walking by. Eventually I found a small tarpaulin, 3 meters by 2, just big enough to cover a kind of a single bed comfortably. And that became kind of the outer sheet of my bed. I had a sunbed mattress that I'd found at some point, and a pillow. I had 2 picnic blankets of my own from the start. Found some towels that I was using as blankets inside the bed. Over time I found blankets, quilts, and built things up. Found a bigger tarpaulin, built a shelter out of 6 mop handles, 6 broom handles, and initially obviously the roof is concave, and found some branches, made some stakes in the ground, tied branches to the stakes, and then bent them over and tied the branches to make an arch, so that the roof would be convex rather than concave. And that was okay for a month or 2, and then we had storms, and it was a broken old tarpaulin, that the one I was using at that point, and it split, and it was dumping water right in on me during storms. And amazingly, the rain stopped and people started walking by, saw the state I was in, and a couple from just up the road brought me a new tarp, just there and then. kind of misunderstood. I thought how lucky that they've got a tarp laying around. They've got an extra tarpaulin. Didn't realise that they'd been to the Chinese shop at the top of the road here, and actually bought it for me specifically. It wasn't just something they had laying around. So I'll be kind of eternally grateful for that step. I redid my shelter with a brand new tarp and extended it, bigger tarp, and that lasted me 3 or 4 months. Some ladies bought me a phone. All my electronics had been ruined in a flood. This field used to flood.
Yeah.
All of my electronics, a phone, tablet,
It still will if we get heavy rain.
No, they dug a big drainage ditch at the top of the field. Not the Christmas just gone, but the one before. Right. The shelter that I built with a new tarp, the bigger tarp, that lasted 4 or 5 months. 2 ladies bought me a new phone, and I decided I was going to maybe dabble with a YouTube video or 2. Suddenly I see a weather forecast for the next 10 days. Rainstorms every day for the next 10 days. And I'm looking at my shelter, and there was no way I was going to survive that.
Yeah.
There was no way possible. Did a video of me cooking a stew in preparation, batten down the hatches, get 3 days worth of food on hand. Did that video, released it. A couple of guys had been walking past the week before, said hello, an English bloke and an Irish bloke. Sounds like the beginning of a joke, doesn't it? Tina, my doggy here, had barked at them a lot, and I'd been all apologetic. They'd come back a few days later and brought me the little gas stove and a bag of food and bits and pieces. And we kind of built from there. I survived the storms. The second day, the rain started to pool in the roof, and I went to lift the roof to help the water off, and my arm just went through the plastic, and all the water just dumped inside, but off to the side of my bed. Rain pouring in, but alongside my bed, not on me. And I managed to get duct tape and repair it and cobble along for a week or 2 afterwards, and survived that 10 days. Wet mattress at times, had to bring everything out and dry everything. But amazingly, one of these guys, a bloke called Simon, told me that he was getting me a tent, and it doesn't look great now, but if you see the video when he brought it, it looked brand new. It was second hand, but it looked great. I had a day to rip down my old shelter, deconstruct the bed that I'd built, move all my belongings out, set up the tent, get it across, get it anchored down, and get all my belongings in before the next rainstorm was due. We just cope, we just keep going, adapt, find a way. When things get wet, bring them out. I've got a few spare tarpaulins, so when it rains now and water just come in through this tent. People have just been amazing. The same guys who brought me the ground sheet saw me post one day that my foldable solar panel was, the surface was crackling, and it was losing, it wasn't getting the sun on it properly. And they brought me one of these panels and a battery box with battery and solar charge controller. Later on, they've brought me a second panel to hook into it. They brought me water purification tablets because my water source dried. I was those foot pump things at the beach. The water was giving me bad guts, as you would expect, and I was treating my water with bleach. But these guys brought me some water purification tablets, and occasionally they'd bring me some water. Some people, since I've had the YouTube channel, some people have suggested I get a PayPal account, which I did. Some people donate periodically. Occasionally somebody walking by will shout me and hand me a £5 or a £10. Sometimes they'll bring me some food. People who are on holiday or have got holiday homes here who are going home, they'll empty their cupboards out or their fridge at the end of their stay here. They bring me the remnants of their food. They empty their fridge or their cupboards. I adapt. How far do we go? I went around bins doing the things that people did, going around finding where people leave food next to bins. Sometimes people leave food in bins. You'll find a whole carrier bag of frozen goods where somebody's emptied their freezer and are throwing it away. More difficult now, they've changed the design of the bins.
Yeah.
They've kind of curtailed that for a lot of people. I guess it didn't look good from a tourism point of view. So it's not a carefree life. You've got rodents, you've got mice running around, and they're so fast you can't catch them.
It's not an easy life. It's not the life that you thought you would get in Spain.
No, it's not the life I ever thought I would have.
Yeah.
You've got to know that when I came out here, I had literally tens of thousands of pounds in the bank that I've just lived on. I had no other income. I thought I was going to carry on with the business, and when I came out here...
So what was the business? Because people will ask.
We were web design. We did web design, website design, content management systems. Over the years we expanded, we took on people, we got offices in the city centre, hired people, went from being a sole trader to a limited company, expanded. As I say, I moved out here, we had employees, and just over time employees left. It was family mainly, but people left and did other things. And I ended up kind of, rather than just monitoring from here, I ended up having to do from here, and it became a little bit unworkable. So we let the business kind of, we wound the business up one way or another, and so no income anymore, no income, and obviously over time that goes. COVID happens, bank cards didn't get sent out, and
yeah,
difficulties ensue. Trying to make her into an internet superstar, but she keeps misbehaving.
Yeah.
Hey babe. She has her own playlist on the website, on the YouTube site.
Yeah.
Tina takes centre stage.
Tina takes it.
Hey babe.
Tina Turner.
Yeah.
At this point, we decide to wrap the video up, and I'll leave Mike with his privacy. I have put the links to Mike's YouTube channel in this video, and if anybody wants to get in touch with Mike or donate to him, please do so.